know what you're reading because you say you read a lot. So I'm assuming you must have read this and now you're acting upon it.
I'm not on that. I'm on Tinder. I'm on like OkCupid and like all these other, I don't know, what are those other ones?
As long as you're not on Grindr, because I would be concerned.
Okay. That's why, well, I'm trying to add more spice to our life.
Hey everybody, you're listening to God Spice with Greg and Kirti.
All right, we are back for another pod.
Yes, we are.
And today we're talking about...
Well, Greg, I think we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about...
What else in the world is there to talk about?
I mean, there should never be any other person or thing anyone should ever talk about than the Greg.
But why would anyone want to talk about anything else? It's so boring.
It's so boring.
It's like beyond boring. It's like uneventful.
No. Well, I actually wanted to talk about you because there's a kind of Hallmark holiday, as one of my sisters calls it, coming out.
Hallmark holiday. What's that mean? Does that mean Hallmark, like their stock goes up, they generate revenue? Like, what is a Hallmark holiday?
They probably do, but
is that a textbook definition?
It's it is a holiday that's been created by Hallmark, the company, so they can have excuses for people to go buy their cards.
But is that true? Did they actually create it, or was it created elsewhere?
I don't know. We have to look this up.
We should look that up.
We should chat GPT this.
We should, chat GPT may give us, 60% accurate information on this.
Well, and they only have information up until 2021.
Oh, yes.
As a part of their database.
Which is the problem, being that you're Aryan and all this like nonsense of being around for thousands of years. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just ask an Indian. We know more.
Oh, really? Okay. That's some good wisdom. Like, that's a new show, Ask an Indian.
I am totally full of shit.
I know you are.
But so
as always,
the holiday coming
I let her
up,
do this because my background, I come from the world of imperialism, and so we've actually contained their behavior. But every once in a while, we let them spout out.
You mean you
BS.
stole from us? You took our wisdom.
Yeah, we did what we did. We did what we had to do.
You inhibited us from growth.
No, not really. We actually, I kind of look at it as we probably is what set your country up for future success.
Okay, we're not going to go down that road because I'm going to cut your head off.
Whoa. But you were just talking about this pod's all about me.
Yeah.
And now you're...
We're not talking
now
about...
Now you're going...
Let's not talk about the side of you that I do not find attractive.
Now you're going all Dexter on me.
I'm going to go Dexter.
Well,
I'm going to go like...
I've actually never seen that show.
I'm going to go freaking Yellow Jacket on you.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay.
As in the show, Yellow Jacket.
Yes.
But what in that show would mean that you're going...
I'm going to roast you and I'm going to eat you.
Whoa. I might like that.
You might. But the reason I
like to get roasted in the sun.
Can you let me get to the point, dude?
Oh, you're the one going off on these tangents.
You're
not me.
If there was another name for you, as Mr. Tangent.
Okay.
Doesn't ever stay on point.
I'm Miss Kirti Malarkey Nike. Okay, go on.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, Father's Day is coming up.
That is coming up.
And you had just really did a beautiful job with Kieran in setting up Mother's Day for me.
Why, thank you.
And I'm not going to do
anything meaningful.
Nearly as good for you.
I know.
Because
I have low expectations.
I am lazy when it comes to that type of setup.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know right now. But I adore you.
Why, thank you.
And you are an awesome father.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I try. I try my hardest.
I think you're a really good dad.
I try. It's not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I thought maybe we could share some Father's Day memories from our dads. And, your dad is a June baby when he was alive.
He is,
and why not celebrate your dad a bit and any memories you might have
I think he just had a birthday
pass,
right? We were saying June 16th?
It's coming up.
Yes, my dad's birthday coming up as well.
Yes.
And although he's deceased.
Although we can't celebrate him.
No,
I thought,
unfortunately.
Wouldn't it be nice for us to do a little reflection on your memories with your dad?
Okay.
And memories of my dad.
Okay.
But my dad is very much alive. And I could talk about what he's going to be doing for Father's
and
Day.
Kicking.
Yes.
Remember that song from Simple Minds back in the day?
I think so. But I never know the name of songs.
I know, you don't.
It's
There's
like
a lot
weird,
of things you don't know.
It's a
but
weird
you
like
just sit
brain
there.
disease I have.
What's really interesting about your brain disease is how you just like make things up and then try to convince people that it's actually accurate.
That's what makes me a marketer.
Yes. It's kind of like ChatGPT.
Kirti GPT.
Kirti GPT. You're like, this isn't a microphone. This is a who's what's it. Whoever calls it a microphone has been wrong for many thousands of years. The who's what's it is what it's always been called.
It's like the Dinglehopper.
Oh yeah. It's very
Little Mermaid.
very Dr. Seuss. You know Dr. Seuss was not a doctor?
No, he's not, right?
No, it was just a pen name.
Yeah.
You know, a pen name he came up with, yes. Dr. Seuss. Actually, it's funny. When I used to go camping with friends, I would always, whenever we'd be like roasting marshmallows, meanwhile, you know, we'd have like these 12-foot, 15-foot plus fires. And then even when they're smaller fires, we'd sit there, you know, if you want to roast a marshmallow, everyone would be typically, this is before they sold like the little, you know, marshmallow roasting sticks in like Stop and Shop and all those different places. You'd have to go and actually physically get a stick. Everyone would always get a stick like this long, and they'd always be like this in front of the fire. Me, I would always have a stick like this, probably like 10 feet, 15 feet long.
It's really not appropriate for you to be talking about your stick in public.
Well, you know, I am known as the big stick. You know, I can't help that. And so I remember one time.
No, actually, there's a friend of yours that apparently has a third stick, right?
Yeah,
Or
third leg, as they call it. Yes. And so one time I remember, that is true. And so I remember one time sitting back, relaxing like this, roasting my marshmallow, but my stick that I had collected like went up on this arch and like did all these little like bends and winds and everything like that, and like my marshmallows at the end of it. And a friend looks over at me, he's like, dude, if Dr. Seuss was to write a book about how to roast a marshmallow, that would be the stick that was in it. It was like totally like Dr.
It would like
Seuss style.
navigated all of Whoville before it got to the fire.
Absolutely. It's like Horton Hears a Who meets every other. Yeah. It's like, go get some green eggs and ham. Yeah.
So speaking of,
yes.
so what is one of your most favorite Father's Day memories?
I really don't have any Father's Day memories, actually. We didn't. So I guess as a family for Father's Day and Mother's Day, my mom, like for Mother's Day, she never wanted flowers. She's like, oh, it's a waste of money. Just buy me flowers on a different day because they're going to just jack up the prices during that day. So yeah, she never was one of that nature. And then my father on Father's Day. So my dad used to love working around the house, and there was always like a project to be done. Like, so for instance, my memories with my father would be on weekends. We're either fixing up the property somehow, or I'm installing something. Like I'm helping build a deck. I'm helping install windows, putting in like new doors. We were always doing like manual labor on weekends. And so Father's Day was probably just another day of just labor that we would do. Maybe, you know, my mother would probably make, my mom cooked anyway, pretty much 7 days a week. So, but I don't really have any Father's Day memories of, hey, let's go get brunch or let's do something for Father's Day. We just weren't, I don't think, a family that did that. It was just a day that, you know, be nice to your dad. And
Why were you mean otherwise?
no, it's just, I don't know. I'm just saying that because I didn't know what else to really say other than for Father's Day, you should be nice to your dad. But yeah, no, I don't remember us really doing anything. If anything, maybe we would probably go to either a relative. We'd go to a relative where they'd come over and we'd probably have a barbecue like later in the day. I'm just
But
trying
that's
to,
sort of like a very like popular thing to do with dads for Father's Day is barbecues.
I'd say so. I'm just, you know, my dad's been dead for 5 years, right? And my mom will be dead next year, coming on 20 years. And so and I'm older, I've been out of the house for 25 plus years, right? Longer than that. And so it's, as I think about what it was like growing up with her Father's Day, it's been a long time since I remember celebrating a Father's Day. Maybe for my dad, that is, not for me, but for my dad. And I remember, you know, we would always go visit my dad. Like for Father's Day, we'd always go see him or do something. But I'm just talking about really as a child. I don't really have any distinctive Father's Day based stories. I think it was just always, at some point during the day, there'd probably be a barbecue either at our neighbors
So you
or
were
our place.
doing chores, it sounded like.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like what, you know, my dad was always doing something around the house. Just like your dad. Your dad's always doing something around the house as well.
He is, but like on a holiday like that, I would say probably less chance. Like we probably didn't let my dad do anything. And you know my mom would not allow him. She'd be like, "What are you doing? Just stop. Just this one day, stop.
Although that doesn't sound like your mom. She would have a thicker accent.
Well, thanks for being racist.
It's not being racist. I'm just
Why do you have to point out their accent? I'm supposed to point out.
No, your mom would be like, Guya, what are you doing?
Okay, let's not imitate my mom. Probably not appropriate, Greg.
Then let's hear you do it.
I'm not going to because that's silly.
You do it all the time.
I'm not going to imitate my mom.
Okay.
I don't feel like it.
It's not imitating. It's referencing how she would address your father on Father's Day.
So it was actually one of the rare holidays that my dad, for once, wasn't working. He was always working in the hospital. And so the thing is with Father's Day, though, it was a little hard because depending on what year that Sunday was falling upon, it could coincide with my mom's birthday.
Oh, yes.
So Father's Day was always a little bit complicated because it may potentially fall on one of his either daughter's birthdays or his wife's birthday. So I feel like my dad always took a back seat to being celebrated, unfortunately, because the birthdays would supersede the, as one of my sisters calls it, a Hallmark holiday. But I really find it fun to celebrate Dad. Like last year was actually really fun because I got to actually, to me, that's one of the favorite Father's Days for me because you are such an amenable and kind of just flexible person. When we maybe wanted to do something for you for Father's Day, we were trying to do it together with my dad. And you were really cool about it. We'll do whatever your dad wants. It's fine.
Well, that's because we had because at first your dad wasn't going to be around in the city, right? And then we had plans, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh no, I'm available." And then so I'm totally cool with that. It was nice. It was last Father's Day we had a fantastic time. It was your mom, your dad, my daughter, Priyanka. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Pri found a really good Mediterranean restaurant.
Yeah,
we had this awesome brunch at together. And then we went to Connecticut after that. So you got to kind of have your side of the Father's Day experience, which worked out.
It's just fun getting up to Connecticut and having a fire.
I just wonder, though, why don't they move these holidays to a Saturday so we can have a little bit more fun out of it? It's on a Sunday when we have to all kind of gear up for the work week. That's my only complaint about Mother's Day, Father's Day, these holidays.
Or maybe the trick is just treat the whole weekend as a Mother's Day weekend or Father's Day weekend, but remove it from even being on a Sunday, which, depending on your religion, like Catholicism will just say that's supposed to be a day of rest, although it's not a day of rest anymore. I remember when I was a kid, stores used to be closed on Sundays, which just isn't the case anymore. And so maybe Father's Day should be, if it's going to be a holiday, maybe it should be a Monday through Friday or something like that. Put it on an actual day. Maybe it should be Monday. Just like Memorial Day, Labor Day,
yes.
Father's Day or Mother's Day is on Monday. That way you can exercise the entire weekend.
Wouldn't that be amazing if that could become a national holiday that way?
That would be tremendous. Yes.
People.
Let's celebrate the people who are raising the generations of tomorrow. It's tomorrow's workforce, right? So we have to raise them so they will be productive workers or productive entrepreneurs or productive individuals that will then help to take our country to the next level.
Well, one of my favorite Father's Day memories of my dad I remember when I was really little is, so my dad really doesn't drink alcohol. We don't come from a family that drinks a lot. It's very occasional consumption. I feel like your parents were the same from
my
you
parents
describing.
Didn't drink. Yeah, my dad liked a Manhattan every once in a while.
Once in a while.
That's about it. Yeah.
So my parents, it's a margarita or Dad might have a light beer,
Yeah, I think talking beer, I think my mom had a beer. She always said, and my sisters will talk about this more than me, but I think my mother had a beer when she was a teenager and was sick from it and never drank again.
Really?
Something of that nature. Yeah. So my mom didn't care if you drank or not. She just didn't like it herself.
Very intense.
My Aunt Gail's the same way. She doesn't drink. So
yeah, she drinks.
Not my Aunt Gail doesn't.
She drinks wine with us.
Well, she'll drink wine. She'll have a glass of wine every once in a while. Wine. But other than that, she really doesn't drink.
No, she was drinking wine.
Yeah, she was when we had wine. Well, it was nice wine that we were opening up.
Okay. Let's not the same.
Yes. But I'm saying that she doesn't really drink that. Okay. Anyway, so on to the next. Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, my
every time we've been with her, she's had the champagne and she's had wine.
Well, she'll have a sip. She's always she's like, Greg, just pour me just a little bit. She says just a little bit.
Well, that's just like my mom asking for a waiter to bring her a margarita made with this much tequila.
Yeah, totally. But when I pour a little bit, it's like it's a lot of it. Sorry. And then it's true. Your parents, it's when your parents order a drink, it's like, please make it with little alcohol
and all sugar
and like sweet beyond sweet. Yeah, your parents like sweetness.
It's a generational thing, I think.
Yeah, it could be. No wonder why they don't like to drink, because that's like a hangover central.
It's horrible to have that much sugar.
You have one of those, you're hungover the next day. No wonder why someone doesn't want to drink.
Ugh, I can't.
They just drank straight tequila. They'd be all good.
Oh. So I remember I was really small and our backyard looked different. It wasn't the paved stone like backyard. It was, Dad had a wooden deck with steps going down to our pool, which had like also grass and stuff. And I still remember it was like Father's Day, and he was actually for once sitting on like one of those, the backyard lounge chairs, like the ones that you can kind of lie down on. And he was sipping a little beer from a tiny little round, like I think it was Miller. It was like a round shaped bottle. Like the beer was cute. It was like a tiny round bottle.
Oh, I know like the little type of
You know
bottles
what I'm
you're
talking about?
Yeah, they make like the 8 or 10 ounce versions of a beer. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
I think
was
it's like an 8 ounce
small.
version. Yeah.
And it was so cute.
Yep.
And I just remember
You're done in like 2 sips on those things.
maybe, but Dad was having it for a while because he's not the big drinker. And it was just like a memory I have, like of him finally.
Are you sure it was one of those apple
Chilling
juice
out.
bottles? Because those
No,
like the
it's
round
not
ones.
apple juice bottle. It was definitely like either Miller or Bud Light. Like I remember it was one
Okay.
of those. A Budweiser. I think it was
Well,
Budweiser.
Bud used to have the little bottles and the way they used to come down. Yeah.
It was like a round shape.
That was like a thing back in the 80s. They used to sell those all the time.
Shh, revealing when I was like around.
Oh, that's right. You weren't born yet. Oops. Kirti was not born yet. So ignore that I just said that. She only saw that from videos
You just don't
of
know
her
when
dad.
I was born.
We're talking like she was reviewing VHS videos one time back when you used to record them, when the pack used to sit here and you had the big handle that would come down. Do you remember those?
I did. I filmed on those.
It's like you had like this big handle that came
My dad was
down.
like so good at like, he would hold his giant ass VHS recorder and we'd be like, Dad, I want to dance. Film me.
And then the big
like
eyepiece
he's
that came
holding
over
the
like this.
giant ass thing. Like,
Yeah,
you
it'd
know.
be like this. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah. It's kind of crazy.
It was huge.
Yeah.
But
Back in
yeah,
the
it's just
VHS
like
days.
it's such a simple thing. I think we hold as like memories, you know. I think it's different in a divorce situation. How do you feel about that? Like, in your current situation of kind of celebrating Father's Day in our dynamic.
I like celebrating Father's Day. I like celebrating Mother's Day. I like, why not? There should be a day dedicated, because if you think about it as a parent, you tend to dedicate a very large portion of your life to your children, right? A lot of the decisions we make are for them. And it's nice to...
All the money we spend is
goes
on them.
Goes to the kids. And so it's nice to have a day that teaches them that they actually should pay attention and appreciate their parents for once. And not talk back, not yell, not be combative, not be anything.
Why can't every day be Mother's Day and Father's Day?
I know, in theory-
perhaps
in theory-
that is just how we should be treated.
I agree, but that would then be just probably a fake relationship.
What? No, I didn't like want to speak back to my mom or dad. Like, I was raised to give respect.
I know, but you were, yes, but children of this
You
day
were
and age.
too.
I
Your
was
sister
too.
said like your mom would have chased you with the.
With a wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But you can't do that in this day and age.
Can we chase them with anything?
No, you're not allowed to, because what's that? DCA, DCF, DC
Child
something.
Protective Services.
Yeah, but it's something else like DC something. I forget what it is. Department of Child
I don't
Protective
know.
Services.
I don't know.
They'll be like
FBI.
they'll be knocking at your door in like 10 seconds. Your child's voice was X decibel, which means that the parent must have been doing something. Yeah, so it's a different world in this day and age in the way that parents, I would say, communicate with their with the way children communicate with their
That's
parents.
true. That is true.
You know, there's almost less of, it feels like there's less of a hierarchy.
But so you don't feel like a difference in your life since you've been, I'll just say, a divorcee, like for several years now?
Good question. I don't think there's really, other than the way that, I'd say the difference would be how you celebrate Mother's Day versus not Mother's Day, excuse me, how you celebrate Father's Day for me versus maybe my ex or something like that. That would be different. But in the way our kids would celebrate
you have the
it.
dynamic of my family too now.
Well,
right?
I've got the dynamic of your family. So, but that's just different. That's just a larger group of people that we're celebrating with. And as we discussed, my dad is deceased. And so my daughter, she was young at the time, so now she understands Father's Day more than she used to, but she would always make me, a nice gift. Or like I do have a memory of when we were in Connecticut, and on one of our lounge chairs, she had a couple gifts for me, but then literally painted me like a Happy Father's Day sign, and she took like some paper plates and drew on them. I mean, she was young at the time, and like built this whole like shrine to Daddy with like some gifts. That was incredibly cute. So I'd say for her, probably each year, she grows older each year, so it's a little bit of a different dynamic. And then from being from my ex to then now, obviously we all celebrate because your dad's closer. And so we try to all celebrate together on that day. And then other than that, I think that you really try to make it a really nice day for me. So I, just feel like I am a VIP for the day, essentially, which is nice. But then at the same time, I feel like our relationship, I feel like a VIP all the time. And I hope you feel like a VIP all the time anyway. I just feel like maybe it's a little different because the kids are like supposed to do a little bit more for us than they otherwise normally would, even though they should do that like on a daily basis.
What's the best gift you've received for Father's Day?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I would be wearing probably one of them right now, although it's in the wash. Oh, because it was a new gift this year. But best Father's Day gifts. So I would say a couple different things. If we're going to go pure, just love and then material. The love would be from the child because the child doesn't necessarily know the material items quite yet. So I love, as mentioned, that whole kind of shrine that she made that one day, just a whole bunch of different artwork that Avon had made for me. I absolutely love. I just brought it up because it's a memory of mine. One of those few memories. And then if we go more material from someone who's more of an adult that bought me something, I just love some of the Father's Day clothing that has been bought for me. That because I love fashion, and so some items that I otherwise would not have bought for myself from a designer in which would not be spending with that designer on a daily basis. So it's been so it's a combination of both. So it's hard. It's hard to say.
It's really hard to buy gifts for men.
But I don't expect. Actually, I'm going to interject. I don't expect anything. I don't expect gifts for Father's Day. I just want you and I. This is going to sound like beyond, like super duper beyond, like cheese, like the cheesiest of cheesy can possibly cheesy be. All I want from the family, I just want everyone just to feel. I just want to feel love for that day. I don't need material items.
Just for that day.
Well, I want that all the time, but I just want Father's Day to be a fun day where we all hang out together and we just have a fun time. That's all I care about for Father's Day. Everything else is icing on the cake and awesome beyond belief. But at the end of the day, I just want like a beautiful day with the family. That's all I care about.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with that. But I like giving gifts.
I know. I like receiving gifts.
I also like getting gifts and getting it.
It's reciprocal.
I mean, but I think I do struggle, and this is something my mom and I like kind of commiserate on all the time, is buying gifts for men is boring. It's like
maybe historically,
cologne, ties, socks.
We were just talking about that.
It's like boring.
So it's boring because for instance, you just mentioned cologne. And we were just talking about this last evening. And I was saying, well, cologne, we used to buy my dad. He didn't like cologne. What did he like?
Aftershave.
And then you're like, my dad, he didn't want cologne either. You're like, we bought him all these fancy colognes, but he just wants aftershave. Right? It's funny how the older generation, they love their aftershave more than they do cologne.
Like dad doesn't even like, even though we'll buy something for him, he's like, you don't have to buy me this stuff. You don't have to buy me this shirt. Like, he's so not materialistic at all. And so it'd be like, when I was younger, and because I've always been like into technology, I definitely spent money on buying him kind of interesting gifts. Back in the day, I bought him, do you remember Palm? Like
the Palm Pilot.
gadget?
Yeah. I used to have one of those back in.
Yeah. I'm like.
Were you born?
I was like,
That's like
I'm super modern.
That's a 90s gadget.
I'm a super modern youngin.
That's like mid to late 90s.
But I
right
spent
there.
a chunk of change on it. That was like $500 or $600.
Had like a metal. I remember it had the metal casing and had a stylus that came out.
Yeah, a stylus.
Yeah.
And like that's
pre-cell phone.
That's like a quintessential baby boomer, right? Like he loves his gadgets and technology. So I remember, I'll buy him that. Then I went to Sharper Image and I would look at like the coolest kind of gadget type stuff to also get him from there. Like the number of things I've bought from my dad.
Did you ever buy him like
years.
that Sharper Image like phone that looked like a long, like skinny kind of banana?
No,
you know what I'm talking about? It was almost like a Bang & Olufsen like style design.
My dad had bought me, and I know I'm going to sound really spoiled right now, but I was in high school when my dad bought me my first Qualcomm cell phone.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he bought you your first Mercedes Qualcomm Sweet 16 dress and your first apartment.
No, he did not buy me any apartments.
Okay. I'm just making all that up right now.
But the other stuff he has bought me.
I called it.
No, I got my own Mercedes. He got me a Nissan Altima.
Oh, okay. That's a good car.
That was my first car.
That's a good car. That's like a safe car.
Yeah, and then a Honda Accord.
Oh, that's another safe car.
Yeah. I got myself a Mercedes. Oh. That was my self-gift when I graduated college.
Mercedes is nice, yeah.
Because I was working full-time.
Oh. Because that's what people who work full-time always get themselves.
No, I was working full-time my last 2 years of college.
Oh, I see.
And I set myself up.
What class was it?
I got myself a C230.
Oh, I was going to ask, was it the C class? I remember when Mercedes came out.
It was super sexy. It was champagne. It's called champagne silver.
I remember when Mercedes came out with the C class. It was the newer class for the younger generation, the starter class, essentially.
Yes.
Get you into the Mercedes family so you matriculate through the system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Well done. How long did you have that car for?
3 years, 4 years.
Okay, nice.
And then...
Are you buying me a Mercedes for Father's Day?
No.
Why not?
Listen, I bought things like the vehicles of sorts for another man before, and I think I'm going to hold off on vehicle purchases for now.
Is that because we live in New York City and we really don't need one?
We don't really need one.
Yeah, I know. For the amount of time
it
that
does
we
not
use
make
it.
sense.
Actually, the garage payments would be probably more than the car payments themselves.
Seriously?
Yeah. Trust me, I know what the garage payments are because I've had a car sitting in a garage that was barely used.
So speaking of, like, do you have daddy issues?
How do you define daddy issues?
Or, like, are you into, like, women who have daddy issues?
I'm not even quite sure what this means.
Daddy issues are when, like, a woman... Oh, maybe you were into a woman that had daddy issues. But, like, they may feel ignored, abandoned by their dad. They may, like... And they're seeking attention and, like... They're just like attention seekers for different reasons as a result. Like that's like the very broad definition of a girl with daddy issues.
Sense. That's why we're together.
So some women, no, I'm not. Joking. I have no daddy issues.
I'm just.
My
busting.
dad gave me plenty of attention.
I'm just busting.
Sometimes too much attention. No, it's like women who might go out of their way to date younger men because they can control the situation, or
well, they do say a lot of women,
or women who date men significantly older than them.
Well, daddy issues...
You're not significantly older than me.
No, I'm saying, well, daddy issues, right? Because people look at daddy issues. I was joking around. I obviously know what you're talking about, daddy issues. And remove daddy issues from it. But they do say that women do look for in a man are qualities of their father in the man that they date as well. But that's different than daddy issues. That could just purely be someone who's, responsible, trustworthy, hardworking. Like they could be just different attributes.
Oh, yeah.
But that's different than daddy issues. I don't know if I've dated, I probably have dated someone with daddy issues, I'm sure.
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think you're sort of dealing with that still.
I haven't overly explored it, but maybe I should send one of our therapist friends over to my past girlfriends and or other people that have been in my life to help them diagnose whether or not it is.
I feel like
daddy
you dated girls
when
they were like when you were younger that had daddy issues.
I'm probably sure because I grew up in a town where it wasn't uncommon for parents not to be around.
Yeah.
Like, so for instance, I remember back when I played hockey, we had one of the kids on the team, more than really one of the kids, but one of the kids like was always throwing parties and his parents were never at the games and they were never home because they were constantly just traveling. So they had this gorgeous house that was empty, which when you think of the quintessential 90s parties that took place in movies, that's what took place at his place on a regular basis.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have never been to these type of parties. I like missed out.
They were fun.
And that's where Greg will leave that.
That's where I will leave that. No, I make it sound like I was like at parties all the time. No, I was actually, even back in high school, I was working all the time. I was either playing music.
Where's Kristen and Kim? I need them to validate this.
Well, Kim was already out of the house married, right?
Oh, true.
Don't forget, Kim was married when I was 11, right?
Holy crap.
Yeah, Kim was out of the house by the time I was, let's do the math on this. Kim went to college when I was, what, 5? Right? And then she was home for a little bit after college, and then she ended up meeting someone and getting married. So then she was out of the house. So she was married by the time I was 11.
I do want to make a blanket statement.
Yes.
Not every woman who marries a significantly older man has daddy issues, but they do tend to have daddy issues.
Why is that? Why are you making a blanket statement?
I'm just saying I don't want to offend women who just like old dad bods.
So then, dad bods. We're gonna
maybe they're into the dad bods.
I want to shelf dad bod for a second because there's another bod that apparently is like the dad bod, and it's a trend.
What?
It's the Skeletor bod.
Ew! What is that?
When a 85 to 91-year-old marries a 26-year-old.
You mean almost dead bod?
Is that considered daddy issues, or is that considered he will only be around for a few more years so I can inherit
a gold digging disease?
I'm just wondering, so they can inherit the
I don't need a
multi-million-dollar estate and everything. Gold digger. She take my money when I'm in need.
But yeah, I mean, there are some women who are into the dad bod. Let's talk about this for a second.
Let's talk about a dad bod. Do I have a dad bod?
Hell no.
I think you put some pictures on social recently that shows how little of a or no dad bod I actually do have.
You are not a dad bod.
I don't have a dad bod. That's because I watch what I eat and I work out. But
remember, when you don't stand with the proper posture,
I do.
Our daughters sit there.
Yeah, they do. They criticize me.
And they're like, you look like you have a dad bod.
But the reason why I feel like I have the right posture, but I think it's because I stand with my shoulders back. Is sometimes it pushes my stomach out and protrudes.
You might, but it's okay. I think I know why you're doing that sometimes.
Well, because I go from a 6-pack to an 8-pack.
No. I know why you're doing that sometimes. I have a theory.
Oh, what's your theory?
I know you are aware that what is it? According to like dating.com or one of those weird sources.
What's dating? I've never been on that site.
I don't know what you're reading because you say you read a lot. So I'm assuming you must have read this and now you're acting upon it.
I'm not on that. I'm on Tinder. I'm on like OkCupid and like all these other, what are those other ones?
As long as you're not on Grindr, because I would be concerned.
Okay. That's why, well, I'm trying to add more spice to our life.
That's a weird sort of spice.
Did I just throw you off? I just threw you off.
That was like completely killed me with that.
I'm sorry. So let's go back to dad bod. So what's going on with the kids?
Here's my theory.
Okay.
My theory is you have actually learned that more than 70% of U.S. women said that they want a man with a dad bod. So when we're at like the Hamptons or on like the beach in the Bahamas and you're deciding to stand with that stupid posture that I hate, you are doing it to attract these 70% of women who want the dad bod.
Look, it's called peacocking, okay?
That is so gross.
I'm peacocking, okay?
No.
Look,
not accepted.
I can't help it. You should see the amount of fan mail I get after a day of doing dad bod at the beach. It's like, hello. My publicist goes like from person to person to person, like collecting the information because of all these women. They literally line up.
Oh, do they now?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. And you're lucky. I still come home and choose you.
Oh, why? Thank you, honey.
Yes, especially on Father's Day.
Well, let's talk about dad bod.
Yeah, what is a dad bod? So dad bod is like Leonardo DiCaprio had more than a dad bod recently.
He has made dad bod famous for.
But is that even a dad
now.
bod? That's like just unattractive bod.
Chunky bod to me.
I saw a picture of him on like a gorgeous yacht, and he had
and also with a gross cigarette.
And he's like smoking, and like, no offense to people who smoke, but it's gross.
It just looks gross.
It's like smelly, stinky, and like it ages you.
Yeah.
And it's just not healthy.
You don't want wrinkles. You don't smoke.
Yes. Just drink tequila. But yes, so the dad bod. So Define. So so in a dad bod, is there any semblance of tonality in the body, or is it purely just like
a
round, like what's that animated show, American Dad or whatever that,
what?
One of those animated shows that's on TV. It's like, it shows like Family Guy. Oh, Family Guy. That's it. Family Guy. He's like, he's like,
no, his BMI looks like it's obese, not dad bod levels.
Yes.
So BMI levels for dad bod are lower than the obese BMI levels, and apparently it's
got to watch out for the index. Yeah,
it's apparently when you got like slight tone like in your chest and stuff, but then when you go to the abs, it's not like a perfect 6 or 8 pack. There's like a slight little like it's soft, but it's like flat, but it's like soft. There might be a very delicate roundness to it. And maybe there's like love handles too.
There could be a little love handle action. Yes.
But it's like, a dad bod.
I will say that so when I was younger, as we know, we've talked about this, I was overweight, chunky as a child, that was just who I was. And not that I ate unhealthy. It's just, I think it was my natural body.
You're just Italian.
Just Italian. You eat pasta and that's what happens. And so, and chips and dip, because I love chips and dip.
Do you know, I could probably out-eat you portion-wise.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Maybe, but maybe not. But you're like, obviously you're a female, so you're like a fraction of the size of me anyway. So, and you have, so they say they have dad bods. You have what they call gorgeous bod.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Eddie.
You're welcome. And so, but when I was in my early 20s.
Skeletor is in again, unfortunately.
Is it? Oh, it's coming back. Like the heroin chic look is coming back.
Looks a bit.
Yeah. That's kind of like gross bod. So then, but I always worked out and I was always an athlete growing up, right? So I was working out. So then in my mid 20s, that's actually when I started to slim out a little bit. I actually changed my eating habits a little bit, actually quite a bit. And was working out. I was a personal trainer. I was a lifeguard and all these things. I happened to drop a bunch of weight and had a full 6-pack. Then moved into my 30s, still have it. But even as an older guy, I still have like a pack, but it's much harder to retain, I would say, the body that I had when I was in my 20s than it is now, even though I still continue to work out, not as often. Well, I say not as often.
You work out Monday through Friday.
I know, but I would say maybe not the elongated duration.
You're not doing it for 2 hours.
I'm not doing a 2-3 hour workout or something of that nature. But we actually watch what we eat. We eat really quite healthy as a family.
We do. We're not very gluttonous in our
I agree.
food
We're not
choices.
gluttonous. No.
And we don't eat outside junk food.
No, we try to refrain from eating. We actually try to refrain from eating unhealthy food. We eat mostly healthy food, whether it's home cooked or when it's store bought. We look for healthy food.
Agree.
Or when we hit the restaurants, our favorite go-to spots weekly.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't understand this affinity for dad bods, especially like.
Oh, I have an idea. I'm wondering, could it be because women, and I'm just making this up, so women, please do not hate me by any means. Could it be that women, when they get older, they may not be as confident in themselves? Maybe their bodies weren't what they were when they were 18. Do you think that they're liking the dad bod because it makes them feel more confident about their imperfect bodies?
No.
No?
I read research that it'll be like a woman with like great figure in her 20s, 30s, and they
want the
actually,
Skeletor bod?
They're actually like attracted to like, a grown man with a dad bod because they think it exhibits like an element of confidence and that they're not vain in terms of so obsessed with their own bodies.
Or laziness.
Or they prioritize other things. And a lot of women who are also finding these men attractive, it's very much led by an intellectual and emotional connection first, and less like judging the person by their facade.
But I would say that's the same. When you look at human psychology, wouldn't that technically be the same?
I don't think it's the same for men.
No, not for men, but when women are younger, because they say women are attracted to a man's personality first before the body. I think women are just
like that anyway.
Whereas a man is attracted to a woman's physique before her mind, right? So,
well, that's the whole thing. Like women, you'll see a beautiful woman with an ugly dude before you see a a hot guy with like an ugly girl, right? That's just really rare to find.
It's very rare to find people like us, a hot guy with a hot woman.
Well, I got lucky.
Unless you're in Hollywood, but then those people are plastic and fake anyway, for the most part.
True.
Yeah.
We don't.
I feel very proud. Considering like, we're talking about Father's Day. I'm going to go into Father's Day. I'm not a young spring chicken.
Greg, are you going to get a glow up for Father's Day?
Absolutely. I don't think I need one.
I don't think you need one, honey.
Unless someone drops a comment and says they think I need one. I don't think I need Botox, collagen.
Not yet.
Well, collagen's good for the skin. And that
Collagen is good for
actually,
you, though.
Collagen's great because you can just drink that. I didn't mean collagen. I meant like Botox and other forms of cheek fillers. That's what I was going with. Collagen I endorse because collagen is great. It's great skin elasticity.
You also take collagen. You drink collagen.
And I drink collagen every once in a while because it's like a natural vitamin that's good for your body. So one thing I do want to say though is like I'm not a spring chicken. Obviously, we have a family, have kids, and everything of that nature. But I'm definitely not into getting the glow, as they call it. Nor
the
have I had
glow up. It's called the glow up.
Oh, a glow up. What's a glow up?
It's like you go get like the Botox. You get like fillers. You might get like, a little bit of nip and tuck and fix.
But why do they call it a glow up? Are you like glowing afterwards?
Yes.
Oh, really? That makes zero sense. But I've never had Botox. I don't, it's fine if anyone wants to do Botox. I just don't feel I need it or want it, or other cheek fillers or things like that.
I'm not going to diss it until who knows? I might need it.
Yeah. I don't think you need it. But if it's something that you want to do, that's
preventative.
fine.
I heard it's good to do preventative.
Before the wrinkles actually set in I think like the key to life is one, obviously try to be as happy as possible. We live life, but then also I believe in vitamins. So I take vitamins, right?
Right.
So,
but you also, and I have to go back to this when I find a vegetarian version, is preventative care is also collagen.
We love collagen. Collagen is good. You can drink collagen, especially. So you can there's different kinds. One, there's either like some with like fish oil, right? Or some that are based off of meats.
Like plant-based.
And there's others that are plant-based.
A lot of them are.
It's good for skin elasticity.
My problem is a lot of them are based off of like cow bones.
Yeah.
And I don't do that.
And so, but you can find, as we said, plant-based ones.
I don't
as
do that
well,
type
or
of bone.
or fish-based.
Kirti,
but it's good for skin elasticity.
Kirti, don't do that type of bone.
But it's basically like you having a daily vitamin. You're not putting needles into your face. It's part of a multi-day vitamin routine. One thing I do take though, which helps with pain from working out, is turmeric. It's because of the curcumin. So you can't use like regular turmeric that you cook with because there's not enough curcumin in it. So you need something that has a high level of curcumin.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. You seems like you don't like looking at me.
What are you talking about?
You keep looking away.
Well, no, I was talking to the audience in that case.
No, you're not supposed to talk to them.
Why can't I talk to them?
You're supposed to talk to me only.
I talk to you all the time.
This is the focus.
You're
supposed to look at me.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at you. I got you. I got you. Hey, it's Father's Day. I can do what I want.
No, it's not Father's Day. We're talking in advance of Father's Day.
I know, it's not Father's Day. Father's Day is next month.
All right.
Or this month. Who knows? When did we record this pod? This pod could have been recorded 25 years ago.
It could have been.
And it was just pulled out of a time capsule.
So.
Yes. Yeah. So back to Father's Day. So.
Well, I don't want to talk about Father's Day anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like over it.
Yeah. I'm kind of.
We can move on.
I agree with you. That was a lot of Father's Day.
It was like a lot of fathering.
But then we took it into health.
Well, I'm actually thinking more about...
talking health. You showed me that picture of Priyanka Chopra. She lost how much weight due to...
I don't know, but I think here's the...
What were you singing me this morning?
Ozempic.
Ozempic.
Ozempic. You know.
Totally like use of a old school song that they turned into a drug pushing.
Well, here's my thing with this whole obsession with dad bods is this does not correlate with all the rich celebrities indulging in diabetic medication that really should be available to actual diabetic patients.
But isn't there a shortage now because of it?
There's a shortage.
Yes.
And
when they started charging like $35 a pop for like diabetes medications.
But these people are spending $1,200 a month getting their access to the drugs that really should be in the hands of people who could potentially die or get sicker from their disease. And they're using it for vanity to lose weight. I mean, the Kardashians are doing this. All of them are doing it. And I just think there's a huge disparity in access to
whatever happened to good old just pump and iron.
like work out. And by the way,
Like
nobody's
the movie
perfect.
from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Nobody's perfect.
Pumping
so
iron.
what's this obsession, right?
Yeah.
So my issue is though, people are taking these drugs to have these easy shortcuts to getting skinny or maintaining skinniness.
I'll just get liposuction.
No, but then why do they like dad bods? None of this correlates for me.
That's true.
Like, how does this make sense?
Because they're doing it and still have dad bods. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh.
Why do they like dad bods? Meanwhile, the women are here Ozempic it.
Oh, you want to know why? Because there's 2 women for every like 1 man, right? So the women have to make sure that they remain competitive if they want to have a man.
What?
Yeah, that's the way it works. Yeah. Look, hey, I didn't make up these rules. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
You're so silly. But, I just think like neurologically, what is wrong with us as a society? Like what have we experienced?
Actually, where do you want to start with that?
I don't know. There's so much to well, but let's use Greg's word again. Unpack.
Yeah, I can't stand that word. Unpack. I can't. It's only because it's.
You say you hate it, but then you use it all the time. Why?
Because I couldn't think of another phrase, word at that particular time. Because it's like used all the time, and for somehow that was the first thing that popped into my head. Let's unpack this. Because like if we're going to talk about.
Babe, we can't control our studio lighting because we have natural light here.
We do. I love our studio.
I
do you
know,
love our studio?
I do, but I'm getting,
do our guests love our studio?
I'm getting a glow up.
You are good. Oh, is that a glow up? Am I getting a glow up too?
You are. Like we're getting like our face
getting a glow up. Yes, we are. Glow, glow, glow up. We'll be a star.
Okay, no, I'm not singing that.
Why not?
I'm sorry.
Come on. We are, I'll tell you, I'm the jingle master. I sing jingles for everything. Actually, our friend Kelly Leach will probably get on and tell everyone Greg is the jingle master. He'll turn any phrase, any word into a song.
Yes, that is a fact.
Yes.
That is a fact.
I was just singing a jingle today.
What happened to you during your childhood that has like informed this?
My jingle singing?
Yes. Tell us a little bit.
It's just my musical abilities as a virtuoso, as a young child.
But nobody else seems to be musical in your family. Where is this jingling from?
I don't know. Even when I was a baby, apparently, like I was like goo goo gaga and gaga gaga goo.
You're so
goo,
silly.
Goo goo gaga 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 you.
You are so silly.
I don't know. Apparently, it's. I don't know actually, because my mother used to tell me that there was a concert pianist in the family in
Luxembourg?
In Luxembourg. I actually no, on the Italian side of the family. No, this is the Italian side of the family. And so
they were out in Venice jamming the piano.
I'm not. I don't actually. I would have to ask family members, but I remember my mother told me we had a concert pianist in the family across one of the generations, but no one else in my immediate family, my sisters or my parents, play music. But my dad loved music. We always had music playing in the house. My mom loves music. She loved Barbra Streisand and like the Bee Gees and music like that. And then we always talk about my musical influences because we talked about my sister Kim, right? And so like one day, like Juice Newton's on, I'm singing Juice Newton. You're like, how do you know that song? Just call me angel of the morning. It's like, so you have that from that sister. And then from my other sister, Kristen, was more like rock and roll and classic rock and things of that nature. And then with my sister Kim was also like Southern rock. So I have all these influences, then plus the influences that I kind of grew up with that I loved and found myself. I have no idea where my musicality comes from, my music ability comes from.
You're exceptionally distinct from the larger, I would say, from your family at large. So what do you think has shaped you into who you are?
I don't know. Like in terms of my childhood being shaped, like as I mentioned, with my father, always listening to music, and I actually I don't know where I get my music ability from. I worked at it.
How about like your tenaciousness? Like you're very like hardworking.
I don't know. I think it's just germane to who we are. Just if you want something in life, you have to go get it. I mean, your family's the same way. You guys, you and your sisters and your dad and mom, like you're all hardworking. There's a good work ethic. I don't know. We're raised with a work ethic, and for me, I just always happened to, focus on I think things that I enjoyed, and I loved playing sports, loved playing hockey, baseball, enjoyed golf, swimming, all these different sports, water polo, all these different sports. And I think when you enjoy something, you tend to work at it. And then when it came to music, just when I remember, just being able to kind of sit down. I would say though for music, which is interesting, is that my parents, like I didn't grow up in a household where, hey, I want to play drums, and all of a sudden I had a drum set. Like,
right.
I sat there, I was banging on pots and pans, then I was given as a gift a snare drum, so I'm playing on that. Then I didn't have a drum kit, I was playing on boxes, and I was doing that. And then my family's been like, okay, he's nonstop playing on a makeshift drum set of boxes, pans, and everything. Maybe we should probably, and he's now starting to take music in school, and back in elementary school, maybe we actually should get him a drum set. So to me, like nothing was handed to me. I see it like I see it with friends and other people that we know. All of a sudden, like for children, it's the hobby of the month.
Yeah.
And then like something's bought for them.
I'm even guilty of doing that with our kids.
It's the hobby for the month. And then they move on to the next thing, or they get tired of it. Or there's always an excuse. For me, it was just, if I put my mind towards something, I went full in. I'm actually still that way. I think I'm still that way. And so when I dedicate myself to doing something, I try to do it to the best of my possible ability. And then I also bring others in to even try to make what I'm doing even better.
Right.
But when it came to music, I had to earn it all. Like I didn't, each year for Christmas.
So it's really, those experiences though, of not getting things handed to you every time you asked for it, as well as like figuring out how to satisfy your learning kind of hunger, has shaped you, right?
I'd say so, because it shaped me in the sense that it teaches you to realize that you're not handed, well, a lot of people are handed things. In my life, things weren't handed to me. I had to go work for it and show that I was going to follow through.
You earned it.
That I earned it. And so, and I try to instill that, although we probably spoil our kids more than like our parents probably spoiled us.
100%.
And so, but the kids work hard. But what about for you? Like, you come from a family where you and your sisters, you guys, I feel, have the same work ethic. And we were just with friends this past week, and I remember there was lunch, and they were asking, being from an Indian family, and that in Indian culture, it's either like a lawyer or a doctor, and what did your parents think, that you're not a lawyer or a doctor, or your youngest sister is not a lawyer or a doctor, your middle sister is a doctor? And actually, they were asking me what my thoughts were, and they were just asking us, and I just jumped in and I said, knowing your parents, that your parents really didn't care what your end profession was. They just raised 3 girls to be independent, hardworking women and not having to rely on anyone. So I feel like you had the same sort of maybe upbringing in terms of work hard for what it is that you want. When you get to certain stages, we will help to support you to help further what it is you're doing, but show us that you have the ethic and the work, capability to want to actually pursue what it is you want to do. And let us help you, when you get to that point.
Yes and no. So growing up, I think you're exposed to a family dynamic, as well as maybe even how we spend money and the things we spend money on. It's very distinct from when I was being brought up. We were much, much more modest and very scaled back during my childhood. And if we were keen on doing something or buying something, it was never just given to us. We had to earn it. We had to show my dad and mom that we had perfect A's across all of our schoolwork. If you do this well, then you can achieve the next thing, and so on. I think my parents' desire and I'm the oldest of 3, and I come from a family of all doctors and lawyers, surprise. And I think there was the desire that I would pick either one of those professions. And I shocked them quite a bit when I went off to college, and I decided to not pursue that at all. And neither subject areas, I was not interested. And it took a bit of persuasion over those years in college. And because I, am the experiment child, as I like to call myself.
Is that like a test tube baby? Like they experimented different configurations and you're what, like, they decided which test tube to keep?
I think they were quicker to say no to me than they ended up saying to my sisters, because they learned through my experience of.
You wore them down. And then by the time the next children came along, he's like, fine, okay, yes. You basically age them.
I think it's all about like these type of experiences that shape you, right? I think I definitely built the thick skin of dealing with rejection better than most. I think I've also like learned how to find avenues or loopholes to persevere.
The rejection, is that from like the days of acting and modeling? And
even before that, like even just being told no by my parents to do things.
The reason why I was just saying that is just coming from the entertainment world myself, is that, you have to learn how to have thick skin, because you'll be rejected more often than you will be accepted, right?
Exactly.
In that world. And also back in the day, you weren't treated quite nicely at all. It was coming from those worlds, it's extremely demeaning. And right? It's demeaning. You're treated inappropriately.
There's no appropriate ethical behavior.
It's you really need to have thick skin. But as you're talking about kind of lawyer, doctor, and kind of choosing one or the other, one thing that still sticks in my head that annoys me a little bit, and I think about it every once in a while, is that when I was younger, I wanted to play both drums and guitar. I wanted to do them at the same time. Because you know me, like I've always been, even now, I'm always working on several projects at a time. Yep. For some reason, I'm not able to just focus on one thing. The way my mind works, I have to be working on like 10 projects at a time. That takes up 24 hours of my day. Just how I am. And I want to play both guitar and drums. And some friends of the family that were kind of older than me, like cousin's age and things like that, said, oh no, they were like recommending that Greg needs to focus on one and then move to the other. I can play guitar quite well, but I would be a much better guitar player right now if I was able to start.
If you had just started
If I just started at the same age of drums, I would have applied the same amount of attention, because when I was done practicing drums, I would have just moved over and played that guitar for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's so I look at that. That's one thing that actually frustrates me.
I don't understand why they
child.
didn't let you, because I grew up playing the piano since I was 4 years old. And then when I started school and they started concert band and stuff like that, I started playing the clarinet. But the entire time I was playing the piano until I was a senior in high school. I took piano lessons, and then I played the flute. I switched from clarinet to flute. I enjoyed the flute more. I just felt like the clarinet just sounded like a duck quacking. Like I hated the sound.
Really?
But I don't know. It just sounds like. I don't
know. I think of when I think of clarinet, I think of like Gershwin music and.
No, it just sounds like clowny to me. I liked the beautiful sound of a flute, and also I thought flute just is a little bit more.
A flute is beautiful. Yeah.
I just think a flute is a little bit more
you were a flautist.
Versatile.
Yes.
Because you could play like any genre of music with the flute.
Oh, whereas you can play rock and roll.
Clarinet is just so specific.
I might actually incorporate like some Jethro Tull in some of our band's music, a little aqualung. But he's always playing flute. Ian Anderson, I think was his name. Yeah, the lead singer.
And I played the flute too until I was until I went off to college. Actually, I got a flute scholarship to Lehigh. It's a fun fact about me. And then when I went to college, I didn't play it. I focused on dancing and other things.
College. I played, so in college, as you know, I went to 2 universities simultaneously, because I was supposed to be going to one school for business and music, but I had to stay close to the city because I had that internship at Electric Lady. And so me and Mom was supposed to be further away. So cut a deal with the school that would go to 2 universities. And by the time that deal was cut, the second university I went into, I was registered for composition classes, and the drummer spots were already taken. And so I had to play piano. And so now I'm playing piano with basically professional musicians. And I played piano when I was younger, but just not to this degree. And to make it even harder, it wasn't even just playing like just classical or normal styles piano. It was jazz piano.
Oh.
You know how hard playing jazz
I
piano
know,
is?
because my piano
alien
teacher,
scales, all these scales, like
the scales are exceptionally complex.
Completely different. So like what you thought about music theory, go to jazz, and it's like it was that much harder. And piano that was my third instrument. Like, so not even like first, but third, playing with people that were professional musicians. It was incredibly hard keeping up. It was really hard keeping up.
You're also a very good pianist.
Why? Thank you. Although I'm rusty now. I haven't played in a while. We have a piano behind us.
We have a piano right
Yeah,
behind
I know.
us.
We have to start playing that more. Although I did just recently, now in our apartment, get a drum pad to start playing more drums again. Because it's been hard since the pandemic and also my injuries. It's been hard to play drums.
Losing access to your feet.
Yes. It creates a big problem when trying to play drums.
Yes. Yes. But like, nothing like, playing instruments and indulging in some maybe different type of heat levels.
Oh, heat. Heat. I like where this is going, heat. Because, one thing about musicians is we have what is called rhythm.
Yes, you do have rhythm.
And when you have rhythm, things can really heat up.
Yeah, I was talking about hot sauce.
Oh, I was talking about something else that
You're
was kind of hot.
You're always talking about something else.
Not really.
Yeah, you're always.
Sometimes. Maybe.
Like literally always.
Well, that's another area of expertise for me.
So I guess the question for you is...
if I can play an instrument, I can play
just to kind of like bring this back to the start of our conversation for a second.
To Father's Day and...
Well, just men.
Men, okay.
Dads.
Men, dad bods.
What is the dad's thing with like hot sauces?
Do dads like hot sauces? That seems to have
like a weird connection between dudes and hot sauces.
I don't know. The only thing I know about... I don't know how to answer that, because when I think of dudes in hot sauces, I think of like guys in Tabasco or one of the most disgusting hot sauces I've ever had in my life, but it like sold out everywhere in the world. And actually the guy has a great story, sriracha sauce.
Ew,
I cannot
I don't like
stand.
sriracha.
To me, it's like the most disgusting. Actually, if you read the story about the gentleman who started that brand, fabulous story.
Oh yeah.
Fabulous entrepreneur.
And he's like haunted an entire 12-mile radius community in California producing it.
Yes. Really?
Yes, it smells like hot sriracha.
Oh, really?
Emanating from that factory.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I didn't know that. But other than that, he has a good story behind him, I think. As an entrepreneur. I didn't realize that. Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, so remove that story of him like this one. No, seriously.
The sriracha haunting people.
But the thing is, I didn't realize that. But that is, to me, one of the most disgusting hot sauces out there. If you want a hot sauce, the best way to have hot sauce is to make your own homemade hot sauce. Like, just get some habaneros, serranos, chocolate ghosts.
Any type of chilies.
Yeah, ghost pepper. You can get you can get scorpion. You can get Carolina Reaper. Just learn how to make your own hot sauce. They're going to be the best because they're not going to be full of vinegar and they're not going to be full of salt. Because any hot sauce out there that you get, all the different styles, even when you go to a Mexican restaurant and they have that like that XXX one and like those other, I forget what brands those are.
El Cote?
Is that what it is? El Cote? They have the red and the green version. It's like they have all these different versions. It's all, any hot sauce that you buy in a bottle, it's like vinegar and salt.
Yeah.
Which is just horrible for your body, especially as a dad and you're getting older. So
yes,
it's better to like resort to making some hot sauce.
So veer away from like high sodium.
Yeah, instead of actually, what you should do, instead of even using
dad
that,
bod might end up dad face.
Yeah, because if you think about it, your body's going to bloat from the salt, right? And so what I recommend is if you're going to go to a restaurant and have anything, just ask them for if they have fresh serranos, not even fresh jalapenos, because jalapenos are rarely ever hot. Just ask for some habaneros or ask whatever hot pepper they have, or some Thai chilies or some Indian chilies, so, some menchikkai. So yeah, that's what I recommend.
So
but I don't know although one thing I do love that is vinegary and salty, technically.
Red hot.
No, not red hot, but like I love buffalo sauce.
Yeah, but that's red hot.
It technically is. Well, I'm not sure if you went to Buffalo, New York, they'd say it's red hot. Whatever concoction that they put together, which probably has red hot in it, and Tabasco and other things in there. But that's one. That's
so
that is
salty.
one salty, vinegary sauce that I tolerate. Other than that, I am intolerant of bad.
What's your
hot
interest
sauce.
in hot sauce?
That's behind the Scoville. Was that the Scoville meter? Whatever it
The
is.
Scoville meter.
Scoville meter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably in like the 100, 200 million.
Yeah. Probably
range.
like way up there.
But what about Dad's hot sauce and toes?
I don't know what that is.
There's like that whole cliche that like men like putting hot sauce on women's toes and sucking them.
That sounds to me like, are you looking to get like, you put it on the toe to get rid of toe fungus, then you lick the fungus off? I've never heard of that. It sounds disgusting, and it doesn't sound like anything I ever want to participate in. And unless a woman has just showered and cleansed her toes, I would have zero interest putting a toe in my mouth.
And that's a wrap with the Dad Bod special.